because you got a sugar shock. Hey, Gary and Charles, how's it going?
Good.
Yeah, great. I was just we got a great dream from Roy and from Charles. Let's see if we can get through both of them here.
We got Don's dream.
Oh, did Dawn send a dream? Oh, darn it. Yeah, well, I thought she sent a dream, but I must have. I'll find it. I'll find it here. But why don't we start with Roy's dream first here? Let's see if we can. The only reason I use this one is so I can put it in the chat. Charles' dream is really good too. He's actually got two, and they're both very good. How are you doing, Charles? You look sort of fish-eyed here today.
Yeah, I got a fisheye lens on my phone.
No, that's okay. It doesn't make any
got done with
difference.
some family yoga a while ago.
Family yoga? Is that something that it happens very often?
No, this is our first time.
First time, okay.
Yeah, it's
A
fun.
new tradition. Okay,
That's for kids. Yeah, great for kids. You start them out and they enjoy it.
Well, yeah, you know, our granddaughter Nora is she went to a private school and preschool, and they taught her Zen meditation there, and it was just so good for her. It's just unbelievable. Well, anyway, why don't Roy? Do you want to read this dream, and then I'll put Charles' dream in the chat too, because there's.
Before you start, Roy, is literally Craig Nelson, our Craig?
Well, isn't that me?
Yeah, I'm at Craig's house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes, it is. Now, it isn't literally Craig. It is actually is something to do with the helpful ally. You know, like it's something to do. Now you're going to see the contrast between Joe, Craig, and Amy, and the sewer pipe and the tree. I mean, that's what I'm seeing is the sewer pipe. Go ahead.
Sounds like a really good one.
It is a really good one, and I didn't really understand it too well either until the last part, and then it started to. That was well. Why don't you read it, and I'm going to put Charles in the chat too.
Okay. I am at Craig's house. I am outside examining this long, complex sewer pipe. I am reading instructions on the box and sliding out this long pipe. It has lots of places where electrical wires attach to one end. It goes in the ground vertically. The government is requiring houses to have these things. Craig comes out and looks at this thing with disdain and goes back in the house. Amy comes out and says, "Hi, Roy." She goes back to the house. Then Joe Davis shows up. Now, Joe Davis is a friend of mine who ran Davis Water Analysis. He ran a secondary sewage plant for Stock Island. Okay.
Okay, go ahead. I am sorry, I screwed up. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
He is a very smart guy. I asked Joe if he understood this thing. He said, yes, no problem. Joe leaves. I stay and keep studying this pipe. A guy Amy knows is planting a tree in the yard. He is crying.
Yeah. Okay, well now, this is very, you know, from this then there's a lot of them. Okay. I'm sorry I put that in the chat. I screwed you up.
I had this on Friday the 16th.
Friday the 16th. Okay, great. Well, let's just go through it. First, I like the long, complex sewer pipe. Now, this long complex sewer pipe, though, is not in the ground. It's something that should go on the ground, right?
Well, it goes vertically down in the ground.
But
Usually
it's not a
sewer pipes are horizontal, but this goes vertically down in like a well, just like a well.
Yeah, it's not installed though. It
No,
needs
it's not.
to be
Right.
installed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, and it's not necessarily. It could be a water pipe. It could be a
No, it's
sewer
a
pipe.
sewer pipe.
Okay, so it's a
Yeah.
sewer pipe.
Yeah.
So, typically when there is anything to do with refuse, it means the rejected contents of the unconscious. I mean, you often see that in alchemical things, dung hills with the treasure at the top, because the dung hill that contains the treasure is rejected by ego consciousness. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But the idea here is, let me just go through it, and then let's hear what everybody says. So now we're at some ally's house, someone who, now we're going to have to contrast this ally, Craig, with Joe, because Joe is an expert on pipe and he's an expert on water.
And sewer too.
Yes. Now, the thing about what we find later is that Amy's friend, instead of putting pipe in the ground, puts trees in the ground. So those are two different aspects of something you put in the ground. One is more nature and one is more, I think, more objective or something. It's not, at least it's a little bit farther from nature, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Let's talk about it. Okay. So anyway, and outside the house is a uninstalled, very large and complex conduit for the contents of the unconscious. Usually now the ones that ego is rejecting, if it has anything to do with say the septic tank or something like that. I'm not sure. Now you'll have to clue us in on that, Roy. But I would say sewer pipe normally. Now, Joe is a head of a sewage plant, so I think it means sewage. Okay. Now, it is one that goes into the center of the earth because it's put in vertically. So it's almost like a well or an oil well or something that just goes straight down into the depths. It doesn't go like a fracking well, this is one that is not going to take the sewage horizontally to the sewage plant so that it can be processed. This is one that goes straight down into the depths. Okay, so in other words, the rejected parts of the unconscious, are they going down or are they coming up? But I mean, I would assume that what the sewage are those contents. And you're going to find Charles' dream is very related to this. Same thing is that sewage would be the it is going into the unconscious down through the sewage pipe because has it been rejected by ego? I mean, the only thing I could think of is that the last dream seemed to have a problematical relationship with with the unconscious. The fact that Adelaide disappeared, that we're kind of in a limbo land. We can't find. So there seems to be something to do with the unconscious, but it's much more mysterious because we're going to find out this later. This is a complex pipe. Okay. Okay, so now it's connected to the energy of the opposites because it has electricity, which has positive and negative poles that's connected to it. So the sewage pipe has a connection with the energy of the opposites. Now, how many times do you have dreams about conduit boxes? I mean, remember the one where you had the two old ones? You know, so there's something about electricity that is important to the unconscious for Roy. Okay. Now it goes straight into the heart of the earth. This is not usually what you do with sewer pipes. They come down a little bit and then they go off to the horizontally. This one goes straight into the heart of the earth. Now, the now here is a curveball. The government requires these in houses. Okay, so it's not what do we if it's the government, you could say the authorities require it, but is it the collective
The
authority?
collective.
Yeah. So
It's a collective thing.
yeah, it'd be the collective consciousness.
No, the
Collective consciousness.
yeah, collective consciousness.
Yeah, collective consciousness, or say the superego, requires these pipes.
It's like a status quo thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, there for some reason in a house there needs to for a house to meet code. You know, it has to have this pipe that goes straight down into the earth, which is a pretty unusual thing for the collective consciousness to require. Okay, collective consciousness is not even concerned with the depths. Okay, but we also remember what is going. Okay, here you go. I'm going to throw this out here. What's going down is the see, it's not coming up. So there is nothing coming up from the depths. What collective consciousness is requiring, correct me if I'm wrong here, but collective consciousness is requiring that these disturbing unconscious contents be sent back where they came from. You know, they're not welcome here. You know, they're not welcome here. I mean, in other words, they are like in an alchemical, a dunghill. You know, these are the unconscious contents that have been rejected by consciousness, and the collective consciousness says these are disturbing to the superego. They must be sent back to where they came from, because apparently this pipe only goes one way. Don't you think? It only takes things from above down below, which is the exact opposite of what the dreams are supposed to do. So this is sort of sending unconscious material back where it came from because it's too disturbing to consciousness. Okay. And so every house is required to have these because these unconscious contents are telling the king that he's not the king, that he's not the master in his own house. Someone else is. And superego will not accept this. Okay. So anyway, then and so this other person who we find out later, that this helpful ally whose feminine counterpart is, we're on a friendly basis with Amy, his wife, says hello to us. Now this person who's more related to the say to the dreams, just a medium of dreams, helpful on dreams, is disdainful of it because these are rejected dreams that we're sending back. We don't want them. Something in us doesn't want them, and it wants to flush them down the toilet. Okay. Okay. So that's that. I think the object of disdain. Now this is just all coming to me because I didn't even think about it until right now. Okay. So so what is ego doing? It is dream ego. It is trying to figure out how to construct the pipe that will flush the unconscious contents down where they came from. Okay. Now, then we contact Joe Davies, who is another a person who's expert on flushing conscious contents down to the depths. Okay. He's an expert on water analysis, for one thing. He's expert on analyzing the unconscious contents. You'd think that would be that he is an expert in unconscious images, but he's also an expert in sending them back because sewage only goes one way. It leaves consciousness and goes back where it came from. And so he understands the complex pipe. No problem, he says. But he leaves. So Dreamy goes there all by itself and continues studying the conduit, which is a artificial method of eliminating dream contents from ego. Okay. Getting them as far away from ego. They used to say, well, Margaret Mead said one time that the civilization, it can be measured by how far the camp is from the latrine trench. So the idea here is we need to get these things as far away from us as possible. And they're going away from ego, down back to where they came from, the rejected contents. Now, you might have another interpretation of sewage, and there could be a different interpretation. But it could be ego contents that are being flushed down. But then the friend of this this feminine aspect of the helper with unconscious contents. The helper with unconscious contents, more feeling functioned, he says hi, more feeling functioned feminine side as a friend. Okay. Now, who is the friend of the anima? The anima has a very intimate friend with whom she confides in always, the self. Okay. What is this intimate friend doing? He is, instead of putting pipe in the ground that's going to take these rejected contents down into the earth. Of course, if it's sewage, it's got to go somewhere. But how did it become sewage? I mean, it kind of reminds me of in Charles' dream, where he leaves the refrigerator door open and everything spoils. But this part of her or of us plants something that also goes into the earth, but it is total nature, and this friend of the anima is crying, and the reason he is crying is because he is suffering, or I think the thing is that he feels that there is a tragedy occurring because we're rejecting the unconscious contents. Okay. I mean, that's there's a suffering happening. And I think the suffering is because these contents are being flushed into the unconscious. Hi, Dawn. We're just getting going on Roy's dream here. Gary, do you have any comments? I'll put it in the chat again.
Yeah, before I start though, Roy, did you have any particularly strong feelings during any part of this dream?
Yeah, that's why I had the dream.
No, I mean,
which part?
Which part? Can you describe it?
The whole dream was solving a concern that I had.
What was the concern?
I was concerned about Craig because he was talking about he was getting medical tests and stuff like
Oh,
that.
yes.
And I wrote him
Oh,
an
I see what you're
email
saying.
about, since he's getting these tests, he should check with a physical therapist. He
Yeah,
didn't write
which-
me back, so I didn't know.
Oh,
He didn't write me
yes.
back. I was
Hmm.
concerned, and then I had the dream.
Well, I did get that physical therapist, and that was, I'm sorry I didn't respond to you. But yeah, I did. So yeah, okay. So there is, let's bring that up too. Okay. Craig is having issues, medical issues, and he needs a physical therapist. I am so sorry I didn't reply. I'm, I am really a,
Well, my dream replied, so fine.
yes,
My
all
unconscious
right.
replied.
Yeah, let
And
me,
then I felt at ease.
yes, okay. Let me just, so could you, why don't you first, because I'll tell you something, Roy, one thing we always do is misinterpret your dreams. What would you say, how would you interpret the dream?
Okay. I was concerned about you because you're talking about getting these medical tests and stuff. And I had the dream. And then I was kind of at ease, especially when it ended with this guy planting a tree, which is sort of new growth. And Amy didn't seem too concerned. And then you started talking about a whale. You wrote a little poem about the whale Sunday. You picked the whale image that Gary put up. And I
There you
said,
go.
oh, okay, this is kind of coming along. And then Monday, you said you were having a colonoscopy, however you pronounce it. And there it is. There's the sewer. There's the wires hooked to the sewer pipe. There's your disdain.
Yes.
Amy wasn't worried. This guy's planting a tree. Amy deals with people that have to go through a lot of grief and emotional stuff, but it doesn't matter. He's planting this tree, and it's going to be new growth, and everything's going to be fine. And I felt so much better.
And that reminds me very much of the first thing that her name's Renata asked me. When I told her that I was having problems being connected to the earth and things, that was what she asked me. Do you have any bodily symptoms? See, now Roy is hitting on the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
He has an intuition that since you're seeing all these doctors and getting tests, you might want to see a physical therapist. Well, that's what she said too, that I needed to see.
Basically, yeah. Because sacral cranial therapy is they're also trained in physical therapy. They know all about it.
Yeah, and the other thing she mentioned was osteopath or something, but osteopathy or whatever they call it. But anyway, let's just look at it from that angle then. Okay, Craig is having health problems. My major health problem really is, this tightness that I feel in my chest every once in a while. And, they did a heart exam and nothing wrong with my heart, but I still have these issues. There's no blood constricted veins or anything like that.
It's probably physical.
It could be. See, and anyway, that was the major aspect. Other than, I have hemochromatosis, which is a disease a lot of Norwegians have, and it has to do with that you don't metabolize iron, so I have to have blood drawn from me. Okay, now I'm having a colonoscopy too, so that has to do with the long, complicated pipe.
Yeah, and the wires. Who attaches wires to sewer pipes?
Yeah, it would be
to get the pictures. It has.
Yes.
It might have been Bluetooth or something, but it has a connection.
Yeah,
right.
They are. So you were really having a dream about now this. What is?
And
this?
I didn't even know that. I didn't know you were having a colonoscopy.
Yeah. Well, I did say that my birthday, for my birthday, my wife pointed out to me that I would be doing, my birthday was April 18th and my colonoscopy was April 19th. And she pointed out to me, did you know you're going to be doing colonoscopy prep on birthday?
God,
And
Greg, did you
I said,
schedule that?
I said, I guess I am, you know? So anyway,
You
it
won't
was,
forget that birthday.
no, we did have a dinner last night. So there you go. So there is the problem is in the bowels. There's something wrong with the bowels, and and what Amy is saying probably is that there might be some problem with Craig's unconscious, and which he's going to see Renata about. And then there's this dream about the well going down, and you know that my landscape is very barren, you know, and
I think Dawn can't see the dream.
oh, she can't see the dream yet. Okay, let me try to put it in again. All right, let me just see if I can put it in again. Okay. All right, let me try it one more time. Okay. Well, Gary, what do you think now? I mean, it's kind of throwing you a curveball. What do you think?
Yeah, this is quite the curveball. Do I interpret this as Craig's colonoscopy or go off the deep end, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go off the deep end.
Okay.
So the sewer pipe going to the depths to the unconscious with the wires, you know, so wires, to me, this shows that this is something that can be charged, and that it's gaining, not a serpentine path, but a direct path, and is going to have access to the unconscious. To me, it's not just one way. This says that, we can now, this is like more like a direct access to the unconscious, which would be like, if you can handle it, would be great for, for evolving. And, Craig coming out and looking at it with disdain. Well, if we see a lot of what's in the unconscious, we are going to feel disdain towards it. But that's also saying that it's not just pushing things down. To me, it says that, no, these things can also come up. We can get images and symbols out of it. So, Amy comes out and says hi, and then, you have this person who is, capable of running this. So, he's another helper function to help deal with, what's going to be coming up from the unconscious, and who knows, maybe pushed back down. But I almost view it as like, it's kind of a strange drilling for water, only it's drilling for the unconscious. And then, the really hopeful thing is that, okay, the direct connection to the unconscious, which can bring up all this garbage, and yet a tree is planted, so along with this somewhat dangerous, decisive, almost analytical thing, there's this new tree, and the tree is the, is the aliveness. The tree is the growth, the new start that we can get from our new beginning. And the crying is that, this man crying. I mean, in a way, it makes sense because it's a new growth, and yet, there will be stuff to deal with.
Yeah. It could be interpreted on two levels. One is just let's say if it is just myself. I mean, it was a very close to what this Renata, who's a psychiatrist exactly what she said, that you need to get you need to be more connected to the body. And how can you be more connected to the body than through the colon, which is that aspect. Now, if you were to say it had anything to do with Roy, but Roy doesn't feel it did. Roy was more concerned about my health problems, and he had sent me that letter, which I'm sorry I got it, and I just didn't reply. I apologize. But what he said in it was that that I needed to see a physical therapist, which I am going to do, and it's going to be. I'm really looking forward to it to see what the dream. But let me just say this: my dreams lately have been not really very. They've not been very. They've been somewhat troubling. Let's just put it that way. They're a little troubling. I mean, at least they're just, chaotic and don't really tell me anything, and so what do you think, Charles?
First of all, has everyone's video been like frozen for like the past 10 minutes, or is that just me?
No, I think it's just you.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna reconnect for in a second.
Okay.
But this, like, the second that Craig getting a colonoscopy was brought up, I was like, oh my goodness, this is absolutely the unconscious responding to outer events. Like, then such I mean, this should be written down and documented. This dream in relation to outer events. It's just like, I mean, my goodness. What more do you need to show the sort? I apologize for the children screaming in the background. Let me just go ahead and reconnect real quick.
Okay. Well, yeah, it was a real, I mean, Roy apparently was having a almost ESP, if that was, I mean, it was really, unless, the only thing I did say about the birthday thing, but no, that was, and it was a scheduled colonoscopy, and I hate those, but, I'm just having about a ton of medical tests lately, and I'm doing these hemochromatosis things. I was supposed to have a blood draw yesterday, but I couldn't do it. It was kind of they asked me if I minded being put under a sedative, and no, I'd love it. Give me more, and I just lie on my left side, put my hands, so let's just say this is, now, let me tell you that Marie Louise von Franz had this patient one time, and her husband died. And she had I'm just making up some numbers here, but she had like 21 dreams about her husband that she brought in. And Marie Louise von Franz read them and said, well, there are 13 of these 21 dreams. It was him. It was actually him. These were not dreams about him. It was a visitation by him. Okay. And so then she, without any comment, took these dreams to Jung and asked him to read it. And he says, well, I counted 13 that it was his actual, it was her husband was there, actually there. So in this case, it was a real, I do feel sometimes when I have these angina things that I could go right now. This is the time. Like Fred Sanford used to say that this is the big one. I do feel it could happen. But, my family, all my father's side, he's 93, and, his brothers lived till 97, and his father lived till he's 97, and his cousins lived till they were over 100. So But my mother and her family are not very long lived. But anyway, there's nothing wrong other than, so if this is an objective dream, let's just put it like this. It's an objective dream. It is a sixth sense dream. Okay. So in that case, we are, and without even knowing that it was a colonoscopy, was the medical procedure, we go to Craig's house and we see there is a long, complex pipe that goes straight down into the earth, and it's sewer pipe. Okay. And so it's the colon, comes from Craig's ego house down into the bowels of the earth, and in that case, then we don't know what to do with it, but we do know that there is going to be some type of a electronic viewing scope being put in it because it's going to be connected with electricity, and then the Craig's wife, who says, "You never let me help you do anything. You're too self-reliant. Why do you do this all the time? Let me help you." And she says she is saying, "Yes, you're doing a good thing, Roy. This is good. This is exactly what needs to be done." And then we have a friend who is a expert at the colon, knows all about it and knows how to analyze it, and but the Roy's dream ego isn't sure what to do about the colon, but he's studying it, seeing what he can do, and then suddenly comes the friend of the anima, and he is somewhat sad about possibly a health problem, and is saying that Craig needs a physical therapist.
Well,
Craig's problem is probably psychosomatic.
I felt like the guy planting the tree was a tie with Amy, because
Yes.
she deals with people like that, and he was just doing her a favor because she
Yes.
listens to him and helps him, but he wasn't connected to the sewer thing at all.
He was trying to say, let me just throw this out.
He was with Amy. That was an Amy connection. And Amy's very important in here too.
She's an unbelievably strong feeling function person. She is a mother goddess. I mean, she's unlike anyone else in her family. Her father was this very spiritual person, kind of a little on the sarcastic side. Her mother was a feminist, and an artist and a poet, but not really a great mother, although she loved her children. Then her sister and brother both died of addiction, but here Amy was the one that propagated the family. She's an orphan, the only one left. And she's very feeling function, very deeply feeling function. I have a little problem with her thinking function, but the feeling function is unbelievable. Now so her friend is saying, this is a problem that cannot be solved by electric wires. This is a problem that needs to be solved by, now this is what Renata told me too. Your problem, where she said, and I told her this after she told me, I said, well, there was a person whose name was Jorg Gradek, and he was an analyst and a masseuse. And when you came to him for analysis, he says, no, you don't need analysis, you need massage. And when you came to him for massage, he said, no, you don't need massage, you need analysis. So what he was recognizing, that their problem was psychosomatic. Now, one of the wonderful things about Renata is she says that the self and the body are the same thing. Now, that was really what turned me on about her, is because she's saying the self and the earth are the same thing. And that's what she told me, what Roy is saying, that you need a physical therapist. She said, you know that your body is a little earth and you lack earth, and your body is your little earth. So you need to take care of your little earth. You're not taking care of your little earth. And she says, what you need to do is you need to get your tailbone and your brain in sync. So, that's why she says the sacral bone is the bone, our tailbone, and the cranial fluids and the tailbone need. This one therapist told me they're flowing back and forth all the time. But anyway, isn't that an amazing dream about psychosoma? So, in other words, let's, I'm having this problem, and I think everybody has this problem. So I don't think my problem is so much health, although, it was, let's say it was linked to the psychosomatic problem, okay? The idea was that your real problem is that your awareness and your body are disconnected. So what you need to do to correct it is to plant a tree, and have that tree be is the body. That's the way the body and the psyche are supposed to be linked, like a tree.
The tree's
and
grounded.
the roots. Yes, it's
In
grounded.
the roots, yeah.
Yes, that is wonderful. It's a wonderful dream. Now, I just want to mention one other thing. Is we're a little group here, and little groups have group dreams, So like families have, like Adelaide and Roy's dream the other day seems a little close, I mean, they almost were they same night, I think.
Oh,
almost.
yeah, same night.
Yeah.
Could have been the same hour.
Yeah, they seem to be exactly the same dream. Well, anyway, Gary, what do you think? Charles is thinking, and I think I am thinking too, that this may be a somewhat of a what they call an objective dream. In other words, a dream about outer events, not a dream of the subjective. What do you think?
I like that. So Renata's saying that the self and the body are the same. I really like that.
Isn't that delicious?
Well, because
delicious?
our if you look at like what we studied in Kundalini,
Yeah.
We know that wisdom is distributed throughout the body, and and what does Kundalini try to do? It tries to get the flow from the root to the to the crown. And that's the work. And so, what are you being told? Oh, we have to get those fluids flowing,
Yeah.
So, it's like, has she published anything or?
Yes, she did. And I will put the book in I'll send the book to you. She just published it. It's called the Self and Meaning, but it's about the self and the body and how they're totally linked. Now, I want to say this has always been my own sense, but is it in my cellulars? No, it's just up here. It needs to be. I need to get the sacral bone and the cranial fluid need to know it too. But the thing, this was the problem I had with Patrick Stewart's Patrick. I mean, he's talking about the world of the dead, and I kept saying, yes, Patrick, but we're alive, and as long as we're alive, that stuff is not speaking to us. I mean, and he would never really address that, but I need to address it and see. So it's been kind of a synchronicity. This Renata. And I never even dreamed or imagined that would be her first. That was and this is what's so wonderful about it, having a grounded woman analyst. And my friend, who was her student, told me she's from Brazil, and her name's Solange Bertolotto Schneider, and she says, Craig, she has the ghost in her, you know. She has the ghost in her, you know, and you will find that she has the ghost in her. And she is a psychiatrist too. So she was a psychiatrist before she came, and she's the director of programs at the Young Institute.
Oh my gosh. Well, she must be outrageously expensive then.
Well, you know, typically they charge $140 to $160 an hour, but I'm only going to do one every other week, you know. So
I mean, that's like, I mean, I was thinking of
through about $300 a month.
Same figure, but that's not bad.
No, it is. It's about $300 a month, but you know, I don't know. I mean, I could do worse, you know, things.
Well, you could do way worse. I mean, there's like one, you know, psychiatrist here in Omaha that's like $350 an hour, you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what Solange told me, that she's pretty affordable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Charles, what are you seeing more Frozen video, or is it?
It's getting a little bit better. Yeah, I don't know. This is, I don't really have a whole lot in the way of analysis and like breaking the dream down, but for me, this dream is kind of like the equivalent of taking a picture of a ghost, because it's startlingly, it makes the, you know, the soul, psyche, self, whatever, startlingly obvious how there is a suprapersonal intelligence within the person that has its own, you know, consciousness, and this dream just highlights that to me.
Yeah, and I would say that the fact that the House requires, or that the government requires them, I would say that the governing authorities of nature requires it. You know.
Well, it's just everybody. They.
You must have one.
Yeah, you got to have this thing. It's collective. I haven't had one, but you know, when you get over 60, you get all this pressure. You got to get this. You know.
Yeah,
the doctors want you to have it.
Yeah, the governing authorities say that you must have a exam of your sewer pipe. You know, I think that's what it's saying there.
Yeah, that's what it's saying.
Yeah, but anyway, that is so beautiful. And you know, I did read the email. I'm sorry, I'm so absent-minded.
My dream fixed it up.
I know.
I was just amazed. You know, I've been upset so many times with this group, and then I have a dream and it gets all resolved. It's just amazing.
Yeah, that was very fabulous, and it actually spoke to every single. See, the thing is, I'm feeling there is a possibility of a real breakthrough here with the psychosomatic side, you know, and so
it is all in our head. You know, Adelaide tells me that to me. You know, because think about it. If you look at a wired skeleton, you know, in a medical school, and you go over there, you can jiggle anything you want on it. Just, you know, it's nothing stuck or constricted. But when you pile connective tissue on it, then you get all these places that are stuck and don't bend and hurt. It's connective tissue, and that comes from all the stress and constriction that you have in you that's unconscious. You're not even conscious of it because you've been feeling that way for so many years. You don't even know what it feels like to be relaxed. If you go to somebody like a therapist that can relax the body and you can actually experience it and feel it, you'd be amazed. You would say, well, God, that's what it feels like to relax. You haven't had that experience probably since you were a kid. You don't remember.
No. And here's the other thing is my wife has massages pretty much every week, and she just wants me to have one. But I've had some reluctance to do it. But the reluctance has to do with the fact that I'm I'm disconnected from the body. You know, I mean.
I can't have that. No, that's a sin or something.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that is.
I've had massage therapy before, and That was I do not regret it. That is for sure.
Well, I'm going to
That's
do
great.
this for a while just because
But
Renata.
really, the physical therapist is the one that's going to give you the most valuable information.
Yes.
A massage therapist can't get to what we have, to the constriction in our connective tissue.
Yeah, and hopefully this one seems, and that's what Renata told me. Don't get anybody that's just had one or two. You went to session for 1 hour on this. Go get somebody who's really trained in it, and that, hopefully there's not a lot here in Iowa, but this was my second best one. My first best one had already left Iowa and went to um, North Carolina. So anyway, why don't we thank you, Roy? That was so wonderful, and it's just what really is just making my heart very full right now is that it is so tied in with the idea is the self and the body are the same, So and the
As you get more in touch with the self, you're going to get more in touch with your body. They're just going to
that's
feed
what
off
she
each
says.
other.
They're the same thing. She says, don't. In fact, the wisdom of nature is the body.
Mm-hmm.
The wisdom of the self is nature. So, and it's the one that you need animal helpers for, like the fox. Who's the voice of exupery? It's the fox. It's the body, So anyway, it is. We'll see what happens. I'll have a thing on Friday, my first one, and I'm very much looking forward to it because it's a brand new experience for me, and maybe somebody else would like to do a sacral cranial, because what she's saying is you're linking the tailbone with. Now, have you done this before, Roy?
Yeah, I've done it with a certified sacrocranial therapist, and Adelaide also knows how to do it, but she's not certified.
Okay, but what was your thinking of after your first session?
Well, I didn't know what to expect, and you're on this table, and she's holding your head, and you're in a very vulnerable position. In other words, her hands on your back of your skull, it's just like driving you. And because you have so much constrictions and you don't really know how to relax, your body struggles with it, but you're in a stranglehold. There's nothing you can do, and you're perfectly safe. Nothing's going to get hurt. And your body all of a sudden becomes conscious and it just takes over. It starts reading the therapist. I don't know where your mind goes, but your body responds to the therapist and it starts relaxing. And you'll experience incredible relaxation like you've never experienced. You can't even remember. But the problem is once you leave, like 20 minutes later and stuff, you go back to Craig or I go back to Roy. It doesn't last, but at least you have the experience. You say, wow, that's what it feels like to relax.
Well, I'm hoping that if they get the fluid to flow from the spine, the tailbone to the cranium, that it's going to affect.
It's not going to last, but it will affect your dreams. It will.
That's what she's hoping.
It'll do that. It'll definitely do that.
If it affects the dream, then you're going to be closer to the body, is what she's thinking, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Gary, what do you do for embodiment dream or embodiment work?
Well, okay, so I do yoga pretty much every day. I do Kundalini every day. I do Reiki every day. And I go for a massage every week. And I don't know, I think I just feel like, we can only get so far on the intellect side, and the rest of it has to come from the wisdom of the body. And we have to learn how to let go.
Well, see, and this is reality for me. I mean, I've had, I'm a sensate, who's a person whose inferior function is sensation, does not have a reality function. I mean, they're far away from reality. So I'm hoping this is going to get me a little closer to reality. You know, at least awaken the reality function within me. I mean, that's really what I told her is I wanted to do, was to awaken the reality function within me, to become more earthbound, more rooted, and to get over the hump. See, I'm just telling her I need to get over the hump, and it was that and the just the lack of reality, and also working on the feeling function. I told her, I said, you might see or sense, and I'm sure you do, that sometimes I tend to be, well, see, I was kind of embarrassed. At the end, she says, do you have any questions for me? And I said, oh, no, I don't. And, and I felt bad later because I should have asked her some questions. I mean, because the idea is also is the feeling function. So here, recovering aware, I lack the reality function. I lack a connection to the body, and I have a very poor feeling function. You know, so all of those are not good. Thank you, Roy, and that's going to be one I'm going to even mention to Renata, that it's like Charles said, it's just crazy. We'll keep this one on the record book. But why don't we quickly look at Charles' dream? We've got about 40 minutes left. Why don't we look at Charles' dream for about 20 minutes? And then, Dawn, your dream is going to take 2 sessions. I think we'll read your dream at the end, and then we can talk about it more tomorrow in depth. And I think it's one I really need to sit down with and just meditate on privately, you know. But why don't we get Charles going, because he's got one here that's not very long, but I think it's somewhat related to. Well, just let's see what we think. I'm gonna just put it in the chat one more time here. Sorry, I put it in the chat right while Roy was reading his dream. Didn't work out too good. All right, here we go. This now has 2 dreams, and we can discuss the second one later. But did you want to read this, Charles?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and read it. Let me pull it up. So I was in an old, dirty, filthy house with my mom, and I was in the kitchen, I was walking by a fridge I left open, and I seemed really short for some reason, or I was just really low to the ground. It was odd. But I was walking by a fridge I left open, and I look in there, and all the food went bad. I had to throw it all away, but the trash can was full. And all of a sudden, something caught fire because the flame on the stove had been lit all this time. And I couldn't see the flame because it was under a pan cooking a couple pieces of meat. And it seemed like an article of clothing of mine had sort of just spontaneously like just flew over to the flame and just, I don't know, caught fire all of a sudden, but it all happened really quick. But all of a sudden the house was just totally up in flames. The whole thing was on fire. And I'm running out of the house, and my mom is on the floor, but she's in the shape of some strange doll. And I throw her onto this huge burning log to warm her up, but she says it likely will not help. And then I kick her off the log, and I mean, I assume because I didn't want to grab her because she was, you know, on a giant flaming log. So I kicked her off, and we run, and next thing I know, I'm in her van, and we're driving away from the house. I burst into tears, remembering all the old pictures of my father that are now all gone, which happened to be right over here on the other side of the room, and I did not know that they were there. It's kind of a coincidence. But so I start, you know, I'm very upset by this. And we turn around and drive past the house to see what's there, and my
Okay. You froze, Charles.
my tears
Yeah.
turn to. Oh, can you hear me?
No, we can hear you now. Go
Okay.
ahead.
You know, I went from crying because I was really devastated to crying from the beautiful sight that I now see, and all the land had turned to flowers and plants and nature, and it was just absolutely amazing. I mean, it was so beautiful, and we just drove past this field of flowers as I continued to cry.
Okay, well, let's just go through it. We're in a filthy house with the mother. So we're in a cluttered ego place with the maternal, which is what's our relationship with the maternal? Let's say it's not the real mother, but it is not a bad mother, but we know that she is later becomes more plastic like the little baby that was born to the 3-year-old looks like a little doll, you know. And now here's what's interesting to me is we went by the place where the food of the body and of the soul is stored, or the dreams really, and through our carelessness and lack of attention, they're no good anymore. They've all decayed. Okay. Now the trash can is already full of unused, neglected contents of the unconscious. Now this very much reminded me of this dream that I had. Let me see if I can get it up here. Um, this one here. There we go. Okay. The anima had a very large bag of trash that kept growing and growing. The bag seemed bursting and not strong enough to hold it. We lived in a place where everything was muddy, like the filthy house, and and the whole world was muddy. The whole world was full of was watery, you know, and the trash seemed very interesting and seemed to have a sacred character. So it was the trash were dreams that I just trashed, and let go away. And while this was happening, it seemed I floated over the earth, and no matter where one went, there were bodies of water. So the guide to the inner world collects and tends the unconscious contents I discard. Her collection grows and grows till her vessel or receptacle are bursting with contents. Because of this disregard for the treasures, the disregard for the refrigerator door being closed, um, the the ground in which I walk is flooded with the water of the unconscious. Now, this is going to be sort of an analog to the fire, I think. I float above the earth, above the flooded ground, and no matter where I go, the land is overloaded with the unconscious that is unassimilated, Okay. So now we're going back to this dream. Okay. So the the dreams are sort of the food of the soul, and they've all decayed because of our carelessness and an inability to preserve them. We left the door open, they decayed, and they're no longer useful to the soul. They can't be food of the soul, they're spoiled. So and the trash can is already full of 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 um, unused, rejected contents of the unconscious that we just threw away. Now, what happens is suddenly the transforming energy of the alchemical vessel is heat. Okay, but since we're not, since all our unconscious contents are being just discarded and not being assimilated, like in my dream, they're not being assimilated, they're just be thrown away. This transforming energy has nothing to transform. So it becomes destructive of the ego because it's now not transforming, it's just burning things up. And so the fire that should be transforming is just is now become destructive to ego. Now we see too that the feminine image, the maternal image, it could be the feminine or the maternal. I would guess it has to be the mother. Something to do with the mother, but it is certainly to do with the realm of the feminine. It doesn't have to be the mother. She can also represent the realm of the feminine. And because a lot of the feminine figures in Charles' dreams sometimes are somewhat undeveloped and unintegrated, so this is a fairly rudimentary. Now, she becomes like the baby that was born to the 3-year-old. So she's undeveloped feminine. She's doll-like feminine, not mature, developed feminine, who the ego is going to be totally remade by, because of her maturity and her goddess divine qualities. But she doesn't have these. She's very undeveloped. Now, we thought that we could probably develop her by having this uncontrolled fire of transformation do something, but the them said, no, this is not going to help. See, the problem, right, I think, is that ego needs to assimilate some of this and be in a partnership with it, but it's not, it's sort of it's not assimilating anything right now. It's not assimilating the food in the refrigerator. It's not assimilating the fire. And the mother is undeveloped and unformed, and even ego is small. It feels short, So the dream
I was just
ego.
gonna,
Yeah, go ahead.
I just remembered something when I put the doll on the log. She didn't say that likely won't help. I remember she said that likely won't be enough.
Likely won't be enough. Yes, it won't help out. Let me finish very quickly here. So, because we got tomorrow too. That's one of the nice things about having these next to each other. But anyway, so then we flee the fire, which is become dangerous. This is a transforming alchemical fire, but it's become dangerous. And we flee in the vehicle of the undeveloped feminine. I'm going to say that rather than, I think that it's dual, mother and feminine. And the because and then we realize that through this destruction, all possibility of connecting to the heroic world of the masculine may be lost to us forever. So I mean, the thing that is going to make the feminine developed and make the alchemical fire be transforming is to go on the hero journey. The masculine, for ego to become a hero in the masculine world, but through this sort of just fumbling around in the feminine, all that we have right now is the feminine and this fire that has nowhere to go. And now it's going to, what it really is going to be destructive of is the hero journey. Okay, so now we know that the connection to the father, the son, go find your father. That's what the two brothers are told. In other words, go on the hero journey. That the father realm is the realm after you leave the mother. See, we're still living with the mother. Why are we living with the mother? The father realm is where we leave the mother, and we don't abandon the mother, but we don't live with her anymore. And now that fire is just seemingly what it's going to be destructive of is any connection, because we're fleeing with the mother. We've been in the mother realm too long, you know, and this fire, this transforming fire, has went out of control. Okay, now then we come back, and this place of the of the mother, of the house of the mother that we stayed in too long, has transformed and blossomed into flowers and nature. Now, what does that mean? I don't know, but at least it seems like a hopeful sign. But we don't. We lost? Is that going to help us if we've lost connection to the realm of the Father? What do you think, Roy?
Yeah, I can go with a lot of that. I'm just looking at it. It's this dream is a connection to Charles going to Arcadia. He's preparing himself for it. You know, he's leaving a place and he's sentimental about it. His mom can't help him. And the fire reminds me of like the fire that was in the submarine.
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't concerned about it. But it's still there, whether he's concerned about it or not. And he doesn't have an outlet for it. And so the dream's saying, oh yeah, this is going to happen, Charles. You're going to Arcadia. You're going to a place where this stuff won't matter. It's a bridge behind you, and a new world's opening up. And no wonder you're crying. It's a very beautiful thing.
Yeah, it is. It is. So that is the Arcadia is the flower fields. You know, so maybe this is the where we start the hero journey. The house of the mother is gone. Now we're going to go into a realm where we're not going to be in the mother house anymore. It's gone. So maybe that was the blessing of the fire. What do you think, Gary?
Yeah, I like what both you said and Roy said, and and it's like, so the dream begins with waste and loss, and eventually the fire which takes it all away, and yet the fire transforms it. The fire provides the materials for new growth, and now we have the really hopeful side that says, okay, this was all lost, and wasn't utilized, but we begin again.
Yeah, and let's put it this way: the father elements, where were they? They were in the house of the mother. Okay, and so in the house of are the father elements in the house of the mother really useful to ego? I mean, I don't know. I mean, the idea is to leave the house of the mother. And so I love what Roy said, is that we're leaving the house of the mother. That house is going to be burnt down forever, okay? Because our mother aspect is too undeveloped. And now we are getting a glimpse of the father realm, the real father realm, the one that is more developed, and that is not giving us any clue that we're going to connect with it, but at least it's showing the beginning of the journey, which is the blossoming flower fields that are now have appeared instantaneously after this imprisoning, filthy house of the mother is destroyed. Now, why is it filthy? And why are we still living in the house of the mother? It's because this is not the appropriate place for ego right now, So it's been filled up with, getting, the ego's grimy and gritty and stuff because it's not out in the fresh air of its own adventure, going up and down the hills with the lion roar of illumination, careless and fearful of nothing. Now in that case, is it going to be filthy and grimy and dirty? No, it's not going to be. And I think that's one of the aspects of Acadia that's going to blow the stink off us. Okay. What do you think, Charles? I think that's Roy and Gary have done a wonderful job on that. Are you Charles?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the dream is saying in the most positive way of, there's no turning back. There's no going back. I think that's really, if I could sum it up in one sentence, it would be that.
Burn it down.
And
It's filthy.
right.
Yeah.
And just an environment of total just waste and stagnation has met its end by a secret fire that had been burning the whole time. I just didn't know it was there, and I got too close to it and set it off. And now I do think that the whole idea of the doll is, I mean, I still want to think more about that. I don't think we really cracked that mystery, but I think yeah, the dream's basically just saying there's no turning back. But and I think the pictures of my father were actually old black and white pictures of him as a kid, which is interesting. I think a whole new father image has to be developed.
I would say the mother
that's pretty much all.
element is let's say the mother element is infantile. It's a doll. We're infantile. We're very short. The father is pictures of him when he was a child. So this is the place of the child. The place of the infantile existence needs to be burnt to the ground. And what will be left in its place? The blossoming field, which is not filthy. It's not dirty. It's not chaotic. It doesn't have decayed food in it. It doesn't have waste baskets that are overfilled, which is in the house of the mother because we've been there too long. It's got overfilled waste baskets, decayed food, and the mother is a doll, an infantile type feminine. It's not going to help us, and the alchemical fire is not going to help. The way we would help us is by having the transformative feminine transform us. But what she's saying is, there's nothing here that's going to help you now. Nothing. So you just need to leave and go and start a new existence. Roy or Gary, do you have any final thoughts on this?
Oh, the mother Amagio is a doll. That is interesting.
Right. Yeah.
Which is kind of like a doll is a play toy of the juvenile, so it's like it's the wrong relationship.
And it's time. See, this will really. I'm thinking.
I did.
Go ahead.
I was. Part of me thought that it was like a effigy or something or whatever, like the fake doll thing that's supposed to be burnt as a sacrifice. That effigy.
I like that. That's good.
But I was thinking about it. Yeah, that kind of crossed my mind when I first had the dream.
In that case, it could be a symbol then as well, rather than a doll per se.
Yeah. Yes, that is true. But what do you think of this as a dream, Charles, of going to Acadia? I mean, it just seems clearly related to that.
That's why I wanted to do this dream instead of that snake dream that I brought up last time, because this one seems so much more relevant. And it's extremely relevant.
Yeah, our the place we're living around in right now is filthy. Waste baskets overflowing, full of decayed food. It's the infantile mother, and it needs to be burnt down. That's all the alchemical fire can do for us right now, is to burn that thing down. And once it is burnt down and it's gone forever, and even the images of the Father in there are not the right images, even though they're the only images, but they are not the right images, you know. So, well, let's start on Dawn's dream. And Dawn, your dream is so deep here that I think we can just start on it today. And Gary, do you want to read the dream? You know,
Sure.
yeah, do you see where it says, I realize I'm late for my medical appointment? That's how it starts out, I think.
Oh, hang on.
It's in
Okay.
2 sections. I realize I'm late for my
I got it. I realize that I am late for a medical appointment. I'm trying to mentally keep reminding myself so that I don't miss it, but I become distracted. And suddenly I think, oh, I have missed it, and I'm upset about the consequences. Then I realize I am in the place of the appointment, and I say out loud, oh, this is the appointment. I'm already here. It's an appointment with my therapist. She doesn't look like my therapist. I am nervous that my husband will get upset with me for not realizing
What is
what is
going
going
on?
on around me. What is going on around me? He
He
is
is-
not there, though. He is not there, though, but instead, some woman on the corner with a book. I am waiting for her to leave so that the appointment can start and I have privacy. The therapist says we have a little time before it starts officially, so it is okay. The lady is busy changing the outside title of the book's binding. She has gold stencils. Then I see a man sitting at a bar. He is older with a gray beard. I am wondering about him. He begins to play a song. I get up, I feel alive, and I am skipping like a child down a sidewalk. I turn back to see what he's doing, and I realize he's playing the song to this woman in a red dress. He rouses her, and she goes in his direction. She goes up through and back down some stairs that go through the base of a tower. She looks white in the face, like a geisha, or those masks worn for Dia de los Mortis. The man makes a comment about his song, saying that people wait for him to make his songs because they have answers in them. Maybe he means answers about her. He also mentions how much money he gets paid for these songs. Then the dream gets more strange and foggy to me. This woman is in some way, I think, connected to a suspense thriller that I've seen on TV in my dream, not in real life. I don't know what character she plays, but just that she seems like a man that plays a woman or a woman that plays a man. Then she added, playing it for her, I meant to say. She was dancing and he gave me a Pied Piper kind of vibe, maybe. Quite the dream.
Yeah, it is. See, this is what I'm saying, Dawn. It's going to take we're going to have to unpack it. Roy, did you have any initial thoughts about it, or?
Okay, let's see. Now, I got interested in this woman in the therapist thing. The lady is busy changing the outside title of the book's binding. She has gold stencils. Now, this is a very powerful image. What is a stencil? It's something that holds a form. You put the stencil down on paper and you color in the form or whatever. Well, what is an archetype? It's kind of a stencil, isn't it? It doesn't take any form. You can't really know what it is, but it can produce a form like a stencil, which isn't the form, but you use it to produce the form. So this lady is very powerful. I mean, she's the archetype master. and she's
Means
changing.
primal imprint.
Oh yeah, this is awesome. Whoever this lady is, I really like that. And then it sort of changes with this guy, old gray guy with a beard in the bar. Okay, and he turns into where he can play music, and Dawn is elated, and the woman with the red dress. What this reminds me of this character that keeps appearing in Dawn's dream. I call him the Green Man. Dawn's sort of scared of him, but also attracted to him. He's still trying to contact her, and I mean that's what I'm getting out of this dream. So I'm connecting it to her other dreams. I mean it's just awesome.
Well, that's one thing about Dawn, about your dreams, is the dream maker is unbelievably rich with imagery. I mean, it's just, it's these are all big dreams, you know. Charles, why don't you say something, then Gary, what you think about it? And I need to really sit down with this one. Charles, do you have any first impressions?
Yeah. I actually, when Dawn emailed this one out, I actually read it a few times and really sat there for a minute and was thinking about it. And I think the older man with the gray beard that plays the music, definitely from my perspective was like an animus, and that, I found it really interesting that his songs held answers, and, his songs are very sought after, and he's, gets all this money for them. And it's like he gets all this psychic energy to make a form of meaning. And that
it's full of psychic energy. Yeah.
Right. And he's playing music, so he's animating things. He has energy to make people move. So he definitely seems like an animist to me. And it takes a really interesting form. And the idea of in the beginning, like going to see the therapist and like, oh wait, no, I actually am at therapy. And there's a woman in the corner of the room that she's waiting for to leave so that therapy can start. But so there's like a couple different variations of the shadow that seem kind of interesting. And that the kind of geisha like lady is, performing and dancing too. I don't know. I couldn't come away with any sort of meaning of it, but it has great imagery, and it speaks to a very interesting inner character of someone.
We will come up with something. I know. Gary, what do you think?
Well, she starts. Yeah, I'll throw a few things out there. I mean, it's so deep. I think it's going to take a while to really get to the depths. But we start with her, searching for the healing function, and what Roy talked about with the lady who is rewriting the cover of the book. What is a cover of a book? It's what the book is about. So it's like this dramatic change. And then we have the man who can lead us through the feeling function, through the music, and and the woman who travels through the tower. Well, what's a tower in this? It's like, I don't tower of learning, but there's this sense of adventure and aliveness as as she's doing this journey through this tower. And it's like, so it has this really deep feeling of the divine. It feels very connected. And even the and then he plays the song, and I get up, I feel alive, and I'm skipping like a child, I mean, and to really to have the deep aha, moments, the truly ecstatic ones that, let us see things in revelatory ways. We have to release all the adult functions. We have to be the child. Um, so yeah, that's kind of that's
Yeah,
what I've got.
it's
Yeah.
got about 4 or 5 high points. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm sorry, Dawn. I just sometimes when I listen, if I close my eyes, I think I hear better, you know. But I'm not that sleepy. But anyway, it has so many high points. The skipping, you know, the tower. Now the tower, of course, has something to do with the spiritual realms, and then the red woman in the red dress. Okay, that's is the feeling functioned eros, you know. Yet she is not. She is an aspect really of. He's talking about her, and I don't think that's a. I don't really even see a shadow figure. At first, I thought it was the woman that was doing the master of the archetypes. I mean, I think everything in these dreams are all very transformative, uh, deeply transformative figures, in the dream, So let's just. Does anybody, Roy or did you have any more comments, or Charles?
Well, I like the duality of the woman in red, but she's also like a geisha. And what is a geisha? She just doesn't have a personality. She's just there to please men professionally. And that's quite a contrast. And I think it has something to do with John's alter ego.
But a geisha also is someone who can speak philosophy with men,
Oh yeah, they're
like a
educated.
hetera.
Yes.
They're
Oh yeah,
very
have to be.
educated women.
Oh yeah.
And then
And
also, what is the deal with these masks of the Day of the Dead? You know, uh, the does anybody can they describe the Day of the Dead?
Oh yeah,
Wasn't
that's
that
big in Oaxaca.
yeah?
Yeah,
It
I've been down there to it in Oaxaca, and people go to the cemeteries, and they have all kind of celebrations and food, and the families go and spend the day at the cemetery where their ancestors are. It's a huge thing.
Yeah,
And
but wasn't there a movie about that recently? It was like a cartoon, but
I didn't
just
see the movie.
yeah, it was a wonderful, one of the really good movies I've seen. But it was about Dias de Muertos, Day of the Dead. It is a Mexican holiday celebrated in Mexico, with, and it's a multi-day holiday and invites family and friends preparing to uh, who have died. It's commonly portrayed as a day of celebration rather than mourning, and it may have something to do with indigenous uh, 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 realm of the ancestors. In this movie, well, my wife knows a lot about it because she's been down in Mexico, but as long as anyone now she believes this too, that the dead remain in with us until as long as anyone remembers them. So the Day of the Dead is trying to keep the ancestors near. Once everyone who remembers them is gone too, then their spirit leaves the earth. It doesn't disappear, but it leaves the earth. But as long as anyone can remember them, and I think that's what she was telling me that Dias de Muertos has to do with, is the remembering, you know. And I always bring that up with her sister Heidi, is uh, the I unlike any of her children, or even probably Amy, I probably am trying to preserve her memory because she's such a amazing woman. Well, anyway, we'll be available. We'll do this tomorrow. I'd like to kind of finish up Charles' dream, and we have. Now, I want to tell you something, Roy. Remember, on Friday and Saturday, I'm getting ready for that lecture, and I'm cramming, and I think I was that was what happened. Plus, I know this screwball, colonoscopy is coming up. So you must have known I was a little bit upset. I was.
Yeah, I could feel it. I could feel it, but I didn't know what to do about it.
Yeah,
but
I was upset.
Just believed it. Right?
Well, I mean, because I didn't know how I could get all the work done and do and fast too. I mean, like on Sunday night. So that's why I read it, but I was just like, I was going to reply, and then I got caught up in trying to get ready for Sunday.
Oh, I know you're a really busy guy. I didn't expect a reply, but I told you in the letter, my intuition told me to write you this.
And it's exactly what
and I just did. I didn't question. I'm not going to argue with it anymore. Okay, I'll write Craig.
Well, you and Renata are exactly on the same wavelength. Okay, Dawn, well, we're going to go through this section by section, and remember, everything is from this, that. So that's how we find the meaning of this one. So anyway, we'll see you. Go ahead, Gary.
Remember to send me that link to the meeting, because I looked for it. I couldn't find it on Amazon. So if you send me a link, that'd be great.
I will send you a link. She wrote 2 books, one about the nightmare, and the one that just came out was about the self and the body. So anyway, I'll see you all tomorrow night then. Okay, thanks, guys. Thank you, Roy. You made my heart soar tonight. So.
Oh, great. It really helped me a lot too. Okay. Glad you're okay.
I'm okay, I hope. We'll see you later. Bye, guys.
Bye.